The planting has just been completed, or almost completed at my place. So now we need to irrigate the plants. Now, it's winter now, so it's not super important that the irrigation goes down now, but I want to get the mulch down to try and get some warmth into the soil. So we're going to put drip tube out now, and I thought it was a good opportunity to show you a couple of tips and tricks around how irrigation's installed. So, to install drip tube, we've already got the solenoid valves in the ground, and I've just left a pipe sticking up. What you'll need is drip tube, something to cut the drip tube with. Now, I've got cutters here, but you could use secateurs, you could use a Stanley knife, you could use this kitchen knife if you want. Poly fittings to hold it all together. Cobra clamps or poly clips, metal pegs. These are used to hold the pipe down. Obviously, pipe comes on a roll, so its natural tendency is to go back to the shape that it's in now. Until it gets some sun on it and some water into it, it's not going to hold its space or hold its place. So we're going to use these pegs to make sure that that doesn't move. I've got an air release valve here. Really simple device, just pops up and down when water hits it and lets air out of the system. You don't want air in your irrigation system. And then lastly, a flushing valve. This is a manual flushing valve. There are automatic flushing valves on the market, but I'm not a big fan of them. They're not super reliable, and you don't need to flush all the time. So we've got a system that's going to get flushed maybe once every 3 months. If I was flushing it with an automatic flushing valve, it would be flushing every time it turned on and just unnecessarily wasting water in a state where we don't have a lot of water. So we'll dig a hole up here for this box first, and then I'll build the little elbow setup that's going to go in there. I've made my little setup now. So the great thing about doing this out here is that it's not me in a trench trying to get clips in. Like, I know what I needed down there. I've made it. I can sit it in there, basically add it to the drip tube that we're about to put in, peg it down, put the box over it and fill it in. And I'm not on the ground much inside trees, especially if this was a really established garden with rose bushes and thorns. So there's our roll, easily manageable with one person. So I'm going to turn it the way that I'm going to unravel it. I'm going to peg down the end that we want here. Now, you're all right probably to have a little bit left over. Grab my cutters, and I'm just spooling it off. And that's coming off the roll the same way it's gone on. Now, another thing you can do if you're concerned about getting anything in the pipe is cover that end with duct tape. I don't have any duct tape, so we're not doing that. All right, so Cobra clamp goes on. We put our prefabbed elbow on. Get our heavily WD-40'd tooling. And that's it. So that's on properly. It felt like it was a bit light. Yeah, it was. I'm just going to sprinkle some of this aggregate on the floor of that hole. Now they're all clipped up. So what I want to do is get a peg right on that tree. If you're trying to retrofit drip tube into a garden bed that's already been mulched, it can be a real pain. One of the tips that I got taught when I was first starting out, you'll see a lot of mulch. It's probably hard to see it. We'll do this bit here, right? So if you imagine that's where the mulch is going, if you grab the tube and shuffle it like this, it actually goes to the bottom of the mulch, and you can just push the mulch over it and it's gone. So, see that? I'm going to have to get a couple of elbows to get down to this pipe. I also need some other fittings. I think I've got a bunch in the shed. All right, so I'm going to come out here and go down there. So I'm going to grab an elbow. Now I'm going to try and cut that off as low as I can. So when you're trying to get these elbows on, it's obviously really cold. It's not really cold, it's 15 degrees Celsius today. The pipe is harder when it's colder. So if you're having trouble, you can use detergent for something like this and put some detergent in there. I wouldn't encourage you to heat the pipe up because it changes the shape of the pipe. At least with detergent, water will wash it away. So, 2.5 meters, 1.8, 2.1, 2.5 meters. Oh no, it's too short. Down this end, ideally I would have had a 25 by 13 reducing elbow. I only have a 25 by 13 reducing T, so what I'm going to do is put a bit of pipe on the other end of the T. This will be temporary. We didn't have an elbow to go into here, so I've got this open loop here. So usually there'd be a plastic plug that you could push in here. I need to end this over. Now, one way I can end that is to fold it in half like that and tape that up with a zip tie or some duct tape. A very handy thing to know is that the majority of pipe, the next size up, will fit around this pipe. To the bin. All right, here's one we found. So this is going to be our end piece for this bit. Fold the pipe over and slide that over. Now, that's not a super tight fit. It's what we had in the bin, but it's going to do for what we need to do. The next size down would have been great. If you were looking to do that with 13 mil, you could use 19 mil. If you're looking to do it with 19 mil poly, you can do it with 25 mil and so on. So I'm going to just cut this line in now. Just want to make sure there's no drippers underneath there. Drippers there. So we're good to cut there. Put that in there. We have a full circuit now, minus a flushing valve. Now, we could actually use this bit of pipe that we folded over as a flushing valve, and that's something that if you don't want to spend the money on a flushing valve, you could just take this pipe here, and every time you want to flush it, just take that out and turn the system on, and then close it over, and slide your pipe back over. Very inexpensive flushing valve. So that's not what's meant to happen, right? So there's obviously something causing that to get stuck. That's not cool. So see, that's sealed off now. That should have done that a long time ago. So what's likely to have happened is there's been some dirt inside the fitting or inside of the pipe, and the water's pushed the dirt up and it's got caught. You know, I was talking about that before. So what we'll do is we can leave it on for now, and we'll let that drain out, and I'll unscrew the air release valve and clean it all out and make sure it works. But you watch now, if you're looking along this drip tube, you'll see here there's water dripping out of that hole, and that's dripping out at 1.6 litres an hour, and then the one next to it is 2, and the one next to it is 2, and what it does is it creates a bulb of water underneath each dripper, and it all joins together, makes a tunnel of water, and you got some happy plants. And that's irrigation.